government in chaos. Bitter war of words erupts between Malcolm Turnbull and Barnaby Joyce over his affair with Vikki Campion, and the PM can do nothing to stop it, tearing apart the coalition. The coalition is in open warfare after Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce launched an extraordinary attack on Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull over his public criticism of his extramarital affair with former staffer Vikki Campion. A defiant Mr Joyce accused Mr Turnbull of adding to the hurt and harm caused by the scandal with his inept and unnecessary comments, likening the PM's intervention to pulling a scab off. Wearing his signature cobra, the Nationals leader also hit back at Mr Turnbull's suggestion that Mr Joyce should consider his future, saying there was nothing the junior coalition partner disliked more than being told what to do about its own leadership. The war of words points to a complete breakdown in relations between the government's two most senior leaders and highlights serious ructions in the coalition, which governs with the support of both the Liberal and Nationals parties. Mr Turnbull's comments on Thursday night were viewed by many as an attempt to force the Nationals leader to quit, but a defiant Mr Joyce said he would not be resigning and effectively told the Prime Minister to butt out. The Prime Minister cannot sack Mr Joyce because it is up to the Nationals MPs to choose their own party leader under the coalition agreement. Comments by the Prime Minister yesterday at his press conference. In many instances, they caused further harm, he said. I believe they were in many instances inept and most definitely in many instances unnecessary. In regards to the National Party, there is nothing we dislike more than implied intervention in the processes of the National Party. Mr Turnbull responded with his own press conference in which he denied he was trying to influence the Nationals' processes and said he had not criticized Mr Joyce's conduct. I have not sought in any way to influence the deliberations of the National Party, said Mr Turnbull. Neither I nor my colleagues have made any criticism of the National Party, expressing views of disapproval or criticism of Barnaby's own conduct. It is not criticism of the National Party. Indeed, the sentiments that I expressed yesterday are quite consistent with those expressed by many members of the National Party itself. The dramatic tit-for-tat ensures this scandal, which has dominated Parliament, will continue into a third destabilizing week for the government. Mr Turnbull also came under attack from prominent Nationals MP George Christensen over his plan to introduce a ban on ministers having sex with their staff in the wake of the scandal. The ban is bonkers, he wrote on Facebook. Mr Christensen said there were far more important issues than who's shagging to in Canberra. 2016 May, Vikki Campion assists Barnaby Joyce's election campaign as media advisor, having previously worked with NSW government ministers and News Corp. August, Campion joins Joyce's staff. She splits with fiancé John Bergen, 3 months before they were due to wed. Friendship develops between Joyce and Campion. December, Chief of Staff de Hallam reportedly seeks Joyce's approval to have Campion transferred out of office. Hallam later quits to take up departmental role. 2017 February, Campion is photographed in a Sydney bar with Joyce, as revealed by Daily Mail Australia. April, Barnaby's wife Natalie reportedly confronts Campion in Tamworth. Campion goes to Minister Matt Canavan office as advisor. Natalie and Barnaby seek to make marriage work. May, at New South Wales Nationals Conference in Broken Hill, colleagues describe Joyce as a mess. June, Natalie and Barnaby show up together at Canberra Press Gallery midwinter ball. July, Campion leaves Canavan office after he quits frontbench over citizenship. She temporarily goes back to Joyce's office. August, Campion moves to Damien Drum's office in a social media advisor position specially created for her. He already has a media advisor. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull is reportedly reassured by Joyce the relationship with Campion is over. Drum says he was told the same thing. Former Joyce Chief of Staff de Hallam takes up a senior position with the Inland Rail project. September, Natalie reportedly asks family friend, Catholic priest Father Frank Brennan, to counsel Joyce. Campion is seen managing Joyce media events at Federal Nationals Conference in Canberra. October, Campion reportedly takes stress leave. Writ issued for New England by-election after Joyce quits over dual citizenship. November, Natalie holidays in Bali with a daughter. Man in a pub in Inverell angers Joyce during election campaign by reportedly saying, "Say hello to your mistress December." Joyce wins by-election. Joyce tells Parliament during same-sex marriage debate he is separated. Campion's redundancy package is approved. They move into an Armidale property provided rent-free by businessman Greg Maguire 2018 January. Joyce and Campion holiday in North Queensland and NSW North Coast February. Joyce tells reporters Campion is now his partner, but denies she was his partner when she worked in Canavan's office mid-April. Joyce Campion baby is due source. App from media reports and official statements. Opposition leader Bill Shorten held a press conference of his own, calling on Mr Turnbull to sack his defiant deputy. "Quite frankly, the way these two men are behaving, neither of them are fit for the high office they currently hold," he said. Yesterday, Malcolm Turnbull declared war on Mr Joyce. Today, Mr Joyce has declared war on Mr Turnbull. Australians have every reason to be angry and frustrated when the two most senior Australian leaders are not focused on anything other than their own jobs. The time has well passed for Malcolm Turnbull to show he has the courage to sack his deputy prime minister. If Malcolm Turnbull doesn't have the courage to sack Barnaby Joyce, he doesn't have the courage to be Prime Minister of Australia, said Mr Shorten. Mr Joyce has been under fire since last week when news broke of his affair with former media advisor Vikki Campion, 33. The outspoken social conservative admitted in December he was separated from his wife of 24 years, Natalie, and he has since publicly apologized to her and their 4 daughters. The ensuing scandal has left Mr Joyce facing questions over former political jobs for Ms Campion, who he now lives with and describes as his partner. Mr Joyce defended staying rent-free in a townhouse owned by a friend, businessman Greg Maguire, by saying, "Friends do not charge friends rent."